One thing about the teachings of the Pope, they're eternal. They're on and on. When the Pope writes an encyclical, the truth is the truth. It doesn't change from 1, 2, 3, 4 generations. What Christ said 2,000 years ago is still the same today. And it's the same with the popes. And so when you read, when he wrote this about motherhood, womanhood, it's not something that, okay, it's out of style now, so it's okay to be the modern woman. No, it's all the same. It's the same. It's the same message, and it's the same understanding of what a woman is, who a woman is, what a mother is. He says, it cannot be doubted that the woman contributes more than the man to the happiness of the family hearth. When you talk about the family hearth, we're talking about the home, because the hearth is where you burn your firewood. It's the heat that comes to warm the room. To the husband belongs the primacy in ensuring the material well-being of the family and the home, in determining his future and that of his children. But to the wife belongs those 1,000 tiny details and particulars, those immeasurably daily cares and attentions which mold the family atmosphere and render it healthy, bright, and comfortable by their presence, or else they make it dull, unpleasant, and stifling by their careless execution or entire absence from the home. The work of the wife within the home should be always like that of the valiant woman so highly praised by the Holy Scriptures, as a woman in whom the heart of her husband trusts, and who will render him good and not evil all the days of our life. The Pope goes on and says, is it not a truth at once old yet even new, a truth rooted even in the very physical condition of the life of the woman, a truth remorselessly proclaiming not only by the experience of the remotest age, but also in our times by insatiable industry of claims to equality, sporting competition, the truth that it is the woman who must mold and nourish the family hearth, and that is this: her place can never be taken by her husband. This is the task assigned her for the good of society by nature and by marriage. Drag her, draw her out of and away from her family with the attractions of one or another of the too many causes which compete to win will subdue her, and you will find the woman neglecting her home. Without the flame, the atmosphere of the home cools. The family circle practically ceases to exist and becomes an occasional refuge of an odd hour. The center of daily life will be found elsewhere for her husband, for the wife herself, and for their children. Whether we want it so or not, the married man and woman who is resolved to remain faithful to the duties of this state cannot build the beautiful edifice of happiness except on the firm foundation of family life. But where can you find a true family life without fireside, without a real, visible point of union, where this life is centered, concentrated, rooted, maintained, and deepened, where it may bud and come forth to flower? This is not the work of a day, especially if the fireside is not hallowed by preceding generations. Who will create then, little by little, day by day, the true spiritual fireside, if not the action per excellence of her who has become a housewife, of her in whom the heart of her husband trusts? For the woman, the hearth will be the focal point of all her efforts, which will gradually make of that retreat, however poor it may be, a home whose members live together in peace and happiness. Now this was written in 42, but he's talking about sports and everything else is pulling the woman from the home back then. And he uses the word hearth because that's what I was saying earlier about the fireside, the fireplace. It was the center of the homes because people would come close there to get warm. It's the same thing with the woman, the mother. She's the hearth, the heart of the home. And here it is, the Pope's telling us, and I ran off a bunch of copies of this so I can give them to priests who, if they are going to talk about contraceptives, they can bring out the beauty of motherhood, what a Pope is saying. We need to get back to teaching our people, about our families, about the true family life of father and mother and children, of home life, where people eat around their table and not around the TV or not in restaurants all the time. We have to get back to this. And Dale Ahlquist was talking to him yesterday. He's the one who promotes G.K. Chesterton on EWTN. the Chesterton Society. He's the president of it. And he said since the election, in the last week, he's been bombarded with telephone calls, people asking him what they should do. What should they do? They're worried about America. And he says, find you some land and start homesteading. And they had a Father Emmerich that was here a few days ago. He goes around giving missions and talks. And he's encouraging people to get back to the land, to get in the rural area. If a country starts falling or would fall, just look what happened in New York City for a hurricane or in New Orleans. There'll be no food for millions and millions and millions of people. And no one knows how to grow anything. And that's part of family, is learning how to grow some of your food, raise some of your animals, raise some chickens, raise some beef, and learn how to be able to put together food from your own yard, from your own pasture. And this is part of homeschooling. This is part of life that's so important, and it's enjoyable. We have to develop creativity for the young girls. Sewing, quilting, making dresses, making aprons, cooking, canning. These are things that are always needed in a home life, in a family life, and we need to develop this. We need to encourage and get little girls to know femininity, how to do things in the home, to be able to clean a house, to fix a bed, to dress a baby, learning how to change diapers and take care of an infant. There was, years ago, we would take in foster children, and one of the girls is now a woman with quite a few children. And she wrote back in the 90s to my wife on Mother's Day. In fact, she called her on Mother's Day, and she told her she wanted to thank her so much for the example that she gave when she was just a little girl in foster care, where she saw my wife taking care of babies and nursing a baby and taking and the relationship between mother and child, that she was proud she had twins and she was breastfeeding her twins. And this little girl had a pretty tough life, moving from foster home to foster home because of problems with her parents. And so we need to get back those that are concerned and see the problems in our country and in this world to a simpler life, to trying to teach our daughters how to be a mother, how to be a homemaker, how to sew, how to knit or anything. My wife would call it the gentle arts, the gentle arts. In one of the letters that she wrote to her daughters, she says, when you crochet this or whatever she was talking about, she says, one knit, or one whatever they call it, that you put together, it takes about one Hail Mary. So when you do the whole thing, you actually said 30 Hail Marys. So she said, always when you're doing needlework and stuff, she said, bring in prayer. She says it makes it so much more meaningful. My wife used to be upset about so many cell phones all over. She never owned a cell phone. And she says, all you see women doing is punching buttons, either playing games or texting. Or she says, why don't they do something more with their fingers that's constructive instead of just always fooling with an electronic machine? And I know this world is so fast, and we all have so much we bombarded with us, but we need to get back to a simple way of thinking. You know, anytime I take a trip, I mean, I'm just talking about going maybe 10 miles, and she would be in the car with me. She always brought her little bag where she was doing some kind of needlework, and if she wasn't doing that, she was saying a rosary. One of my daughters wrote a little pamphlet about her mother's death, and she said she could see late at night, she'd see the light on in the bedroom, and she knew that 1 o'clock that the light was by her mother's nightstand because her mother was reading or praying or writing. And that's true. My wife would very seldom go to bed without us reading or her sitting there and writing notes and stuff and praying. It's developed a woman that's concerned about her children and concerned about other people. That's wanting to always share. But the men have to do the same thing. The fathers have to do the same thing. But the men are out working. The mother is with the family. And the mothers need to see the beauty of being a mother. Women need to see the beauty of being a mother and want to learn all these little arts for women so that they can teach their children and fill their life up with meaning. I go to Heritage Homestead in Waco, Texas. We've been going there about 12 years now, 11 or 12 years. And their whole community is creative, and their children don't watch TV at all. They don't have TVs in the home, but they're all creative. We are made in the image and likeness of God, and God is a creator. So we are made to be like Him, creator. So we need to become creators, whether it's the creation of music, of song, of paintings, of words, making poems, or books, or furniture, or dresses. We need to be creators. We need to develop our children to be creators.